All right, let's do a clap. I'll go 3, 2, 1, clap.
Okay. So am I counting or are you counting?
I'll count.
All
I
right,
was
sounds good.
just getting some room tone.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. Okay. I should say something interesting or funny or both.
Did you know that on planet Gilrest, 100% of car accidents happen under the ocean?
On planet Gilreth.
Yep.
Underwater car accidents. I'm picturing like a lot of valleys through coral reefs.
Yeah.
Or like narrow areas, maybe like tight turns and things. Because
Yep.
otherwise you're just out in the open. That would be silly.
Yeah. Or maybe that's exactly why people get into accidents. They think they can just go anywhere they want, and then they just ram into other people. Like, wait, what? I was going this way.
They turn off their traffic control computer just to feel alive.
Yeah. They're going off-roading, but everywhere's road. It's like hit someone's house randomly just because you're just like, it's all open. Who cares?
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm taking off, still to run. I'm taking off, still to run. I'm taking off, still to run. Our last time goodbye, drifting to space. Our life is cold. All I want is the power of the night.
Welcome back to Shattered Worlds RPG. I'm your Loremaster, Jeff, and with me, after too long a break, it's Kyle.
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Welcome back, Kyle. This is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Kyle is kind enough to monitor our Discord, and anytime some interesting ideas come up, he's in there getting in the mix. And I had this wild idea in our last episode. I had Violent Pam on, and so I was telling Kyle about how I had her on and all this wild stuff that happened as it relates to Jilyam. And so I thought, yeah, let's do it. Let's get Jilyam back for the next step in the story. So this thing is happening just like a few hours after that last session with Pam, and about simultaneous with whatever's going on with our heroes. Any questions?
I guess, yeah, last time I was on, I had some information about looking at your Loremaster account, about Oakleaf and stuff like that. I was wondering if there's any developments and updates on that would be at this point. Because I know on my end I had some stuff that happened, but I'm wondering like any developments that have come out of that, or is that just still stale information at this point?
So the Emperor has been courting you through back channels, the Emperor of the Afridi Empire, to join his program. That's ostensibly why you're here at Stoneflower Island. And so every so often he gives you updated intelligence data. The trouble is they haven't had any since the heroes were rescued from Snowball 6, which is this ice asteroid where they mine lithium. They managed to get out right before a kidnapping group was set to take them. You don't know who was in charge of that group, but one of your trusted contacts was there with them, with the kidnappers, trying to get Ambassador Crunch. And so you think he's either sold you out, he's working both sides, he's on his own renegade mission, but his name is Dr. Steve Santinelli.
Cool. I just got to mention, by the way, when you said Snowball 6, I thought that was going to be like like a play on SEAL Team 6.
They're a bunch of cartoon animals.
Yeah.
Really hardcore though.
Yeah.
So yeah, the last intel you have is when your agents helped them escape from that station.
Sounds like they haven't really done anything other than just like evade things, because I remember you mentioned like some people made some major discoveries and stuff like that. So it sounds like people are just running around doing their thing, trying to not get caught up in the political landscape.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'll hold something in reserve for the listener, but at a certain point I'll be like flashback and we'll cut back to you getting a call from somebody.
All right.
Which sort of set this bit in motion. So think of this as like in media res.
Yeah.
You're at Stoneflower Island. You're about to give a speech.
Okay.
So yeah, the Remembrance Day festival has been going on for 2 weeks, and it's now Remembrance Day finally. And you haven't set foot on the station until this moment.
If I remember correctly, Remembrance Day is about the unit, like when the people were unified, right?
It was the first day of the Second Yafridi Rebellion.
Right. Okay. That one. Okay.
And that's considered the collapse, where like the conclave was broken and all this stuff. That's when the new dating convention started. Post collapse.
Okay.
And they started it so that Remembrance Day was the first day of the
Calendar?
new calendar. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's in springtime on Calustria. But calendars are relative around the
When
world
you have,
or the galaxy.
Unless you're counting it based on, any galactical rotations, which case that'd be a little inconvenient.
Yeah. Actually, I think Remembrance Day is the day they made peace. So
Makes sense.
And that would have been 7 years after the war started. So
Awesome.
this would be the 11th annual, something like 10th annual, whatever. So it's a big deal. You're on this new station. Your engine that you created with Barrowman and the Viceroy of Kavar 2. What was his name? Peregrine Flint. You guys worked together, and you didn't tell Flint that you were using a hybrid captive to run the engine because you need like an extra boost of I don't know, magic DNA.
Yeah.
To suck energy out of a null gate, which is how your engine is powered.
Yep.
So we'll jump those 2 weeks, and you're about to give your speech. So here I go. Thousands of the richest, most influential, and contemptible people in the Phalanx galaxy stand arrayed around a stage in their finery, silly hats and frocks ruffling in the light artificial breeze. Slowly wheeling about in the air float station security officers in smart maroon uniforms, searching for saboteurs and gunmen. High above, beyond the layers of glass and terranium steel girders, maintenance shuttles and security robots hum about the outside of the station. Beside you, on the stage, are a dozen dignitaries from many different worlds, dressed in sophisticated garments and colors and prints associated with their planetary traditions. At the lectern, the lead designer of the station, a stoop-shouldered old Vorak named Evichum, discusses the merits of the station and its many artificial habitats. It's all so boring. You've seen 100 such ceremonies over the years, whether in your original body or the handful you've stolen over the last 30 years of your awakening. Cutting-edge science, new materials, hard work and concerted effort, blah, blah, blah. It's all so tiring, so human. But there are reasons to be happy, or at least content. Yes, there are thousands of potential subjects, willing and not so willing thralls for your great army. The Red Circle has hundreds of dupes in its orbit. but few have the wealth or influence of these great luminaries. With them on your side, you could finish the great work. You could open the master gate and release your own people into this reality once again. If you were the master of that deadly force, so much the better. The meat sack finished speaking and looked your way. What are you thinking about in this moment?
I think he just takes a slight step back and allows the personality of Jilyam to kind of float back up for a second, just like he is so close to his personal goals as well, that he can just taste it almost. Um, he's so ready for it, hungry for it. So he's just kind of more or less like holding himself back personally as to not ruin this. It would be almost as if you've ever heard a wolf in sheep's clothing. It would be as if there's just hundreds of piranhas just floating around inside the sheep, just snapping at ready and just trying to hold itself back from just consuming it from the inside out and just spilling out.
Jesus. So this great man, this teacher is in your forebrain and all these little monsters are all around the back. Cool. So you're about ready to go up and Gale Grave, your loyal right hand, whispers in your ear. They're coming, sir. Our agents are in position. Jeffrey is stage right. He'll cover you until your escape. There are maintenance tunnels behind the stage hidden in a large rock. Jeffrey has the code in his glove. From there, follow the virtual map to the VIP shuttle bay. The team will meet you when you arrive.
Of course, and the shields?
Shields?
Never mind. I thought I asked for some shields in place.
Oh, okay. So we'll that was me asking what. So let's
my bad.
So let's flash back to a few hours ago when you got a very special call. You're just entering the station and you're surrounded by your loyal agents, and you get a call from Gale. She says, "Sir, I've just got off the call with our mutual friend." And she puts a little stank on it, and you think that could only mean Violent Pam. Pamela Haduri, your once right hand who stole your starship, the Sidewinder, and has been doing piracy ever since.
Oh, yes, the troubled child. What about her?
She bought my interest in her endeavors, and she sent over 20 million to put together a plot against you. A full coup, sir.
Of course. I was waiting for a moment like this.
So what I thought was we could use that 20 mil to hire local talent and then turn on them at the last second. I told her about Battle Plan Zeta. If you remember, that's the one with the dancing girls. And she goes on and like reminds you of the details. And now we come back to the present where you've got force fields. Everybody's got a personal force field, and there'll be force fields around your retreat path.
Fantastic.
Okay. So Gale goes, "For the cause, sir. Grave out."
Of course.
And she clicks off. The audience is waiting in bated breath for you to come up.
He walks up the stairs. What was the name of the person speaking before me again?
That was Froga Evichum, the lead designer.
Froga, thank you for the wonderful introduction. You do me far more than I have any right to claim.
He nods respectfully.
People of the Luminary, I appreciate your time. I know that in these troubling eras, there are always shortages of time, and yet you gather here to remember. The past is often thought to be immutable, unchanging, And yet, in the present, we see that that is not always the case. To look back from the future and see that where we stand now is not where we once were. That is the purpose of days like these. To know that those that cannot be changed can in fact find time to be their greatest enemy. And yet, it is also time that can be the greatest ally. The march of progress, of change, that is what we rely upon. Year after year, as we march away from those horrendous times, as great men and women take their place among the stars, much like you all have, doing us great honor. And yet, there's something missing. I'm sure you can all feel it.
Perfect. Okay, so you'll continue, of course, but as you're talking, 4 lines of red-robed, white-masked agents of the Circle start coming in, and they start doing a dance in front of the stage. At some point, they drop their red robes, and they've got like intricate, colorful things. You know, they've got batons, and they're doing this slow, intricate dance in time with a low, fluty tune wafting through hidden speakers. Carry on.
Whenever we think of the past, we often think about what came before us. Many think of perhaps things that others would find ridiculous. Everyone does. They look to the past for their technological prowess, the past for their magical prowess, to the gods and the stories and mythology. What I say here today is that for all of our greatness, there's one thing missing. That is unity. I am of the belief that everything can be improved, that growth is the greatest teacher of all. Ironic, I know, for me to say such a thing, but I believe it to be true.
Okay, there's a lot of grumbling. You can see people like, you know, I guess the majority of the people have like stiffened up and have stopped like responding positively ever since you said the word unity. Carry on.
But there is one thing that I believe that we have now. Opportunity. The worlds of the past have left behind great technology and marvels. Why shouldn't we partake in that? Why shouldn't we stand at the forefront and make improvements, connecting our worlds together through one way or another? You see, great power comes from connection. That is something you all know. You wouldn't be here without it. It is through the balance of these connections that have given you the greatest hand possible. So the question I have for all of you is, where do your ambitions truly lie? Is this enough?
Suddenly, the music becomes garbled. Your words feed back and end with a squelching squeal. The dancers begin to buck and writhe as if being shot. The one nearest you falls backward into the podium, her head a mass of ravaged bone fragments. Blood sprays in your face. You feel a thudding whoomp in your right shoulder, and you're thrown backwards, tumbling down onto your back. Your personal shield winks on, stutters, then goes off again. Roll initiative.
Yep, D10, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 2.
So with your 18, that'll be a 20.
Yep.
Okay, so you're simultaneously with their guys.
Okay.
So you're lying on the stage. Snakes are swirling up from in front and behind the lectern, worming their way rapidly toward you. To your left, at stage right, Jeffrey crawls towards you, his shield sparking as bullets crash against it. Your Virtua goggles flare into oppressive light, and your earpiece whines with an impossibly loud screech. Everywhere you look, people are dying. Security officers, hover scooters start dropping from the sky, sending uniformed men and women tumbling madly, their bodies impacting the ground with a series of nasty thuds. What would you like to do?
I think he'll get up, make sure that he still has protection, and stare whoever's shooting him at him.
Your personal shield has been shorted out.
Okay.
So your demonic power can create a shield, but there are some people that could probably detect that.
I think he'll just pick up the microphone at this point and simply just say, because remember, there are others willing to drag you down. And he's going to drop the microphone and head back to the plane.
Okay. How do you plan to get around the snakes? They were not part of the plan.
Yeah. Quick question. There's a person on the stage with me, right? The other dude?
Yeah, he's about 30 feet to your left, and the other dignitaries are like 10 feet to the right, and they're starting to run.
I'll just grab the closest person I can and just like use the mental control and just fucking use them as a sled. Just step over them. It's
Holy
like,
shit. Okay. So you're gonna do a domination.
Yeah.
The nearest person is the Prime Minister.
I feel like maybe using the Prime Minister is probably not the best idea. I'll just.
How about their aide?
Yeah, I'll just choose an aide and I'll motion for the Prime Minister to follow with me.
Okay.
You want to live, Prime Minister? I suggest you follow.
So you're gonna dominate. Roll a d10.
Yep.
And there's no way this person could beat you unless you roll a 1 and they roll a 10.
That's a 3.
Okay. So the aide kind of takes their boss's sleeve and starts walking towards you. And they get to the snakes and just drop down on their face.
And I hold the legs in motion for the Prime Minister to get on. We're going to slide down, Prime Minister.
Well, it's covered the snakes here, so you can walk over them.
Okay, got it. I just step onto the guy's back and just thank you.
Okay, now a certain number of people are going to snipe you. That'll be 2. So how would you like to defend yourself? I think because you're doing this complicated maneuver, you can't dodge. So I think it will be some kind of force field, maybe.
Honestly, knowing the domain of myself, I think I'm just going to call upon not exactly demonic energy, but the processing power that is the domain of mind here, and just figure out where the shots are. Try to figure out where the shots are coming from, and just let them hit like non-vital spots. I'll take the hits.
I love that. Okay. So if you beat the rolls, I'll let you have the damage.
Okay, sounds good.
So yeah, well, it's like a dodge, but it'll use your mind skills. So
sounds good.
Roll a light check.
That's a 4.
So 4 plus 18 is a 22. One of these does hit you, and it does. So it would have done 33, but it does 16.
Okay.
And your vitality is enormous. I think it's like, 12 times 3 is 36, plus 9 times 12 is 90, 108, 144. So you took 30 odd. So 16. So you're at 128. All right. Yeah, this bullet goes through your side and rips through your robe. and you feel a little sting, but you're fine.
I just turn to the Prime Minister. I'll walk it off.
Okay, you get to that side of the stage and you look down over the back of the stage and you see 3 of your people down there already have their shields set up, and one of them sees where you are and rushes forward to get between you and any potential shooters.
I give him a nod. Next stage, I believe, my comrades.
Okay, he drops a device that creates like a temporary repulsor field so you can jump onto it and ride it down to the floor without risking either of your lives.
Sounds good.
The Prime Minister is normally super stoic and, I don't know, unruffleable. And she is like shaking like mad next to you.
Prime Minister, what seems to be the problem?
Why are they shooting at us?
Because they wish to see us fall and burn, my dear. It is the strength to take the galaxy that will see us through. Do you not agree?
You see Jeffrey leap off the back of the stage and tackle this person you didn't notice before. They were like in a cloaking field, and so they were kind of shorting in and out, and they drop them and ride them to the ground and just start beating them. And you see the snakes kind of stop wriggling off the side of the stage.
Ah, I believe it sounds like that one was the one controlling the snakes. Fascinating.
Yes, fascinating. Where are my people? And she's like shouting into her wrist comm, but nothing's happening.
They're likely dead. This is a very well executed plan, but my take is ours is better.
Okay, one of your guys jumps between you and this side of the shield, and he points back to the others, and he points up it's like a shallow slope up the grass through some bushes, and beyond it is a big rock it must be made out of, it must have been made here. It's not a natural formation, and that's where the exit should be.
If you'll follow me, Prime Minister.
Okay.
I'll start walking off in that direction, and I'll keep an eye out for any potential threats.
Okay. Somebody's targeting the Prime Minister.
Alrighty. Does it look like how's it look like they're trying to target her, out of curiosity?
There's just a little UV dot on her forehead as you're moving towards the bushes. And your person's shield is too low, so it's going to come in over the top. They're up in one of the girders around the dome.
So for dominate, right? What is the criteria for like being able to establish a domination?
We haven't set a max range, but I think of it as it's usually pretty close.
Okay.
If you could make a link with them, like on a communications device,
okay,
that makes it easier.
If that's the case, I'm going to just dominate the Prime Minister instead and get her to essentially move inhumanly, to just throw it off. Is just like how a sniper might normally imagine someone to dodge a bullet. Like, you're not going to just throw your body, right? If you know about it. So it's like, obviously, yes, they can control like stuff, but I'm going to just wait for the last possible second, have her just throw herself at me, and I'm going to catch her and just pull her out of the way, harm's way.
I love that. Okay, so you're basically doing what you did for yourself, but for her.
Yeah.
So it would have been 46 damage. Instead, it's 23. I'll say she's 3rd level with 5 vitality. So
I guess this is more of like trying to force her to dodge better, but yeah.
Yeah, so she like ducks and weaves, and her eyes go wide at like not understanding why her body's moving. And then she spins around and her back goes into your chest, and a shot goes like, instead of going through her neck, it goes through the shoulder, goes under the collarbone, and doesn't blow out the back.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys kind of roll backwards with the momentum and then rush towards the bushes. And she did not take a wound, but she's almost out of vitality.
Okay.
But she's still conscious for now.
Yep.
So next round, you could run to the door, and there's enough cover there. You think you'll be safe.
All right.
And you see Jeffrey up there, like pulling out his code key and about to open up the door.
Fantastic. I walk towards the door, and I'm just I'll let the experts do their thing.
So on every walkway around the top of the dome, red-robed figures can be seen battling each other. Like that one sniper that just shot her is now in a fist fight with somebody.
Yep.
Through the glass of the tower up ahead of you, more can be seen fighting in the elevators, like going up, going down. And the
like
glass...
that one, Captain. That one time Captain America was in the elevator, just a bunch of guys just fighting it out.
Was that Bucky and Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
So the glass cracks around one of them, and you see two people tumble out, and they just land right beside one of your guards, who leaps backwards, and they're both totally dead. You reach the rock. Jeffrey holds his glove up to the thing, and it's not working.
What seems to be the problem, Jeffrey?
I think they've hacked my glove. It's not working. And then a huge Vorok steps around the rock with a massive rail cannon. This is a weapon powerful enough to blow holes in the side of the station. Your men don't have the shielding to prevent all the shots from getting through if he fires it up.
Jeffrey, it appears our key has arrived.
The barrels start spooling up with green lights blinking along both sides of the barrel.
Dominate him into shooting the door open.
Oh shit! Yeah.
If it can shoot through the station, it sure can shoot through the door.
Sure, and you're faster than this guy, so I'll let you go first.
Cool. All right, let's roll domination. That's a 7.
A 7 plus your 18 is
25. 25.
You beat him by 1. So he steps forward into Jeffrey's shield and turns, and so it's like scraping along the front of the shield, and he just goes into the console, and the shield is just torn to bits. 7 shots at let's see, 10d6. I'll just multiply this times 5. 8, 40. So yeah, the first shot rips through the shield, and then 6 more just bury into the console, and the door slides open, and then there's like an emergency signal as it that's why it opens.
Yep.
Because obviously something bad is happening.
Yep. Good sir, if you wouldn't mind turning that on yourself now. And I'm just going to walk past.
It's too long for him to turn on himself, so he starts unhooking it and bashing the stock into his head. Inside the rock, there's like a corridor, and you see 3 dead Red Circle members on the ground with a blood-soaked Abelard Ondashar clutching 2 Vibra blades. Abelard Ondashar is his Entride. He's this tall, handsome guy with wings. He's what's called a Skyblade, and he leads the force that is contracted to the Emperor of the Yafridi Empire. And he says, "Sir, get in before it's too late."
Of course. I'm just gonna to make sure everything's kosher. Is it possible for me to just skim his thoughts by any chance?
Of course, yeah.
I'd love to just see if he's actually on our side real quick before I just trust him. Is that a roll for?
Yeah, this will be like a shadow roll.
Okay. That's a 2 for 20.
20. Okay, yeah, you just beat him. Oh, actually, he would have a special headpiece from the Emperor to protect him. So he just beat you.
We're so slight. Okay.
And he like kind of shakes his head a little bit, and then he kind of looks sort of sheepish, and he says, "You have more gifts than your dossier claims, sir." And he turns and starts running down the corridor.
Yeah.
He whispers into his wrist as you guys get a ways away, and the corridor behind you blows big, leaving a mass of twisted, fiery metal and stone. And he starts barking orders into his wrist. "Sir," and then he looks back to you. "Sir, the Emperor is waiting. We have to get you away from here."
Very well. I'm going to get onto the shuttle. Because I feel like after doing mind control, if he was not on our side, he probably would open fire. So that's enough for me.
So the Emperor, finally, you've been wanting to get a face-to-face since you arrived 2 weeks ago. He's apparently very interested in your SVA engine. He seems to think it's what he needs to power his ring project.
Perfect.
Let's see. A group of green-suited Imperial troopers are guarding the intersection beyond, and their helmeted commander waves you on through. You keep running, and up ahead you see this open area that opens out above and to either side, so there's a chance there's some snipers in there. Abelard grabs you and then jumps up and over the railing. He whips his wings around you and starts spinning through the air.
Okay.
I'm just rolling for these bad guys. One of them's weapon jams. And one of them rips through his shield and does... it just knocks out his shield, but he doesn't get hit at all. Bullets rain down on the shield, and you zoom into the far corridor beyond the gap. More shots ring out behind you. Abelard spins, ducks, and fires a plasma shot back, like without even looking. Let's see. So he shoots back and hits a sniper, enveloping him in green fire.
Awesome.
He turns back the other way and keeps rushing you forward. And you see up ahead, Jeffrey 2 is waiting, and he's holding your submachine guns, your magic ones that never need reloading.
Yep.
He nods to Abelard, who ducks down and pulls out a small grenade launcher. He tucks it back behind you and plunks a few down the corridor, just tearing it to ribbons.
If possible, Abelard, once you're finished with this, if you could go back and ensure the other guest is intact, that would be appreciated. And I walk up to Jeffrey 2 and grab the machine guns.
Of course. Jeffrey swirls your cloak around your shoulders and directs you down a flight of stairs to a waiting shuttle. The rear hatch is open, and standing there is your right hand, Gale Grave, her golden armor gleaming, her mighty broadsword unsheathed and shining. She gives you a massive white smile and says, "Shall we, your grace?"
Of course. Lead the way.
You hear a big explosion somewhere in the distance, and a chunk of shrapnel tears through Jeffrey 2. Gale grabs you and hauls you in and hits the emergency hatch close button. Up ahead in the cockpit, the pilot says, "We're cleared for takeoff, sir."
To the Emperor, then.
Out in space, you can see emergency security shuttles dropping down into the Great Dome with their weapon ports open.
Yeah.
And out at your flagship, Velnap's Tier, you see little fighters circling around it, taking pot shots. You have a little time as this next bit happens as you fly up, if you want to say anything or do anything.
I think he's just going to stay silent for the time being. There's no need to speak at this point for anyone else's sake.
Cool. You see this kind of strange silver ball looming into view, and part of it opens up almost like liquid metal.
The aforementioned space ball.
Yes. And it opens to admit your shuttle. Gale
All right.
says, "I'm sorry, sir. They activated more agents than we anticipated. I take full responsibility."
Gale, we can only expect people to be flawed. It is of no concern. It was a risk within parameters. If you wish to take any sort of responsibility, continue doing the hard work you do. That is all I ask. In my name.
Yes, sir. So she peels back your bloody interior robe, and she's checking your shoulder, and she smiles as she realizes your wound is completely healed.
Mhm.
It seemed to have just happened automatically without your trying to.
Mhm.
And you realize she seems more enamored with you than usual,
Mhm.
perhaps even romantically. She sits back down and straps into the security seat. And the shuttle docks and gets clamped, and then the whole ship starts doing all these wild motions as the shuttle bay closes. And you jump into hyperspace. How do you handle hyperspace? Everybody deals with it differently.
I suppose I don't think I've actually gotten an introduction to hyperspace in this world before. Mind if I ask how they're handling it?
It generally just causes a little bit of like stomach upset or
Sorry, I meant like the physics of it, if that's known at all.
oh, yeah. So the null gates create sort of like hubs that send out these kind of lines of power between each other.
Mhm.
And the ships ride those and accelerate into this sort of other dimension of hyperspace. And it takes not necessarily an arbitrary period of time, but a period of time that is based on a bunch of different factors.
Distance, power, I imagine.
Gravities of
Gravities, yeah.
various
Okay.
bodies and things. So,
Now, do we know what this dimension is out of curiosity, or is that just just more like just physics?
yeah, I mean, they call it hyperspace. It's sort of a purpley void. Some people claim that it's the compressed form of the in-between paths, the sort of inner world that the null gates connect to.
Okay.
But nobody inside the in-between has ever seen starships blazing by, so
Cool.
it's hard to know.
Does this feel anything like the in-between then to me?
Yes, that's a good idea. It feels like home, like you feel the proximity of the gods and demons and yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, I think part of the ship just like starts to have these like strange tendrils start to wrap around, like not like or at the outside, but like inside of it. Um, just like a moment, right? And people will like start to look like there's like these strange corded things like wrapping around them for like a brief moment from time to time. Um, Now, the body of Jilyam himself looking just completely like unfazed and normal, but just like having the most tendrils wrapped around him for a second. Um, and then it flickers back out.
All right, you see Gail like shake her head a little bit, and now you're inside, and time will pass a certain amount. A little while later, the shuttle hatch opens, and you see the Emperor standing there. He's about 5'6", nondescript face, black hair, brown eyes, and he's in a suit with no tie, like top button opened, and he just looks comfortable as fuck. And he's surrounded by his sky blades.
I'll get down on one knee and give a bow.
Oh, you get down on one knee?
And like to like as a bow, yeah.
So you unhook from the safety seat
Yeah.
and then you kneel down. He smiles and dips his head in respect. I believe you owe me one, Master Jilyam. I look forward to working with you.
Of course. I've been quite excited since we've started our talks.
He smiles broadly and chuckles.
Your gift of a escort has been more than appreciated, my emperor.
Ah, yes. Andashar is something of a revelation. Very effective agent.
That he is. I have the feeling, however, you are a man of business, so let us move on to that then, shall we?
Of course. Let's go to my office.
We'll get up.
Gail gets up and walks down the ramp behind you, just looming, her shadow like enveloping several people. And next scene, you're in his office, and you notice that he never lets himself be alone with you. He's always got somebody 6 feet away,
Of course.
as if he's afraid you might assassinate him.
I'm assuming he's afraid of everyone assassinating him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'll actually go as far as to leave my submachine guns with his guard as I step into the office.
Gail gives you a raised eyebrow.
Well, we're among friends. Should not need one when he has such capable guards, right?
Yes. The guard puts it up on a fancy hook near the door.
And of course, if anything were to go wrong, Gale, you would always have my back.
Give me a perception check. This will be a light check, so
Sure.
add 18.
That's a 9 for a total of 27.
27. I'm going to say you can feel that there's something that's been done to his guard. This isn't one of the Skyblades.
Yeah.
He's wearing black and with the emblem of the Golden Yidrak clan, which is the royal clan. And there's something in his brain or behind his ear or something that shouldn't be there.
Can I take a deeper poke at it?
I mean, if you want to go up to the guy and poke around.
Well, no, I mean like mentally, like try to figure out like what this is, like from my perspective of like, I'm assuming if something's been done to his brain, there's an impact on his brain. And I kind of want to see if it's possible to diagnose that through.
Oh, through telepathy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Give us a roll.
Alrighty.
And he'll have an automated defense system.
Oh, that's a 1.
A 1. Not a super botch, and it's still higher than his. So you can tell that something is suppressing his rebelliousness.
His guards are incapable of desiring to overthrow the emperor.
Yes, some technology. Gale told you that the Emperor's people were developing some kind of mind control devices separate from yours, and maybe they succeeded.
If it's based on mine, that's even better for me. Because that would allow me to gain entry, and can I just see if it is by any chance?
Sure, yeah, you activate your electronic
If I remember correctly as well,
signal.
the way it's designed as well, I think I can also use demonic energy, or that signal.
Yes, if you can crack it. If it's shielded from your
then I would not be. Okay, cool.
Beacon.
Yeah, let's give a signal just to see. I'm not going to send anything down the signal. I just want to see like if it accepts the commands.
Cool. We'll say there's a beacon in the shuttle, so there's a chance they might have. I'll say there's a 10% chance they blocked it. No, so it is active, and you're able to send your essence down the channel. And you can tell that it's slightly different.
Not enough.
but there's probably a way that you could do it without triggering a security sensor.
Fantastic.
If it was a subtle thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious if they because if this device is meant to be my main method of just grabbing new hosts or just spreading influence, so if they're just doing it for me, that's fantastic. That's absolutely wonderful. He's just gonna play dumb, I guess, and just walk in afterwards.
Perfect. Do you want Gail to stay with you?
No, she can stay outside. If I get into any conversations, I do not want her hearing it. That would be ideal.
Cool. So the Emperor, basically the same spiel he gave to Ambassador Crunch is you donate 100 agents to the cause, and he'll implant them with their control device. You also give 1 billion Connells to help build the station. And I think, or that's a full partner share if you want to go that high. And because I assume you want to be able to operate the ring, you'll need to be at the top there.
How much money do we have?
I would say you could pull together from your people a certain amount of money. I'm gonna roll here. You think you could probably release up to 6 billion.
6 billion?
But it would be like 80% of acceptable, like squeezing from your people. And it would stop a lot of research into other technologies, various digs, things like that.
Okay. My Emperor, may I offer you 3 billion and access to all my agents save for my personal guard?
All your agents? I believe you have 500 that we know about.
And even those that you don't, perhaps? I don't know. I don't keep too close track.
You must read the reports at least, surely.
Oh, I have people for that. Don't we both?
Of course we do. But I like to take a close interest. As I get older, I find I can trust fewer of my lieutenants to do the little things.
Of course, I mean, I once had someone who grabbed my ship. She was my right-hand woman.
Haduri.
Mm-hmm. It's such a shame.
He sighs. You know that she's raided like 5 of his convoys over the last few months.
But I find that those who are united in purpose, the very least, can be trusted in that purpose, if nothing else.
He says, have your right hand authorize the release of those funds and we can talk turkey.
Of course. If I may, I'm going to take a step out the room.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say, Gail, please procure 3 billion Cornell.
Her eyes goggle and she says, that'll take some time, sir.
Of course. We can, it will take time, of course. As much as you need, but we will need to procure that much.
Okay. Consider it done.
We are on the path to a glorious future, Gail. Believe me, it is worth it.
Very well, sir.
Want to walk back in?
Okay, yeah, she puts a thumbprint on a pad and hands it to you.
All right, I grab it and I walk back in, and I'm going to hand that over to the Emperor.
Okay, he does a little scan of it, then he takes it, and then he does his own thumbprint. And you can just hear all the phone calls that are going to be made as all your rich friends complain.
Yeah, Jilyam just causing problems for everyone. This is how the powerful, I suppose, work it out in this universe.
Indeed. So he says, now that you're one of us, I can introduce you to our partners. And he shows you Perrin Marshall, who's the new head of House Marshall. He's about 19. His mom was just obliterated in a massive explosion where a satellite crashed on the building she was
That's rough.
in Calestria City.
Yep.
And she was in the middle of like an evil like insertion to kill her enemies. And they got to her first.
Of course.
So he's there. And then the other one is the Vice Admiral of the Conclave Central Science Service. She's a Navy Admiral. She's like head of security basically for the fleet of the Central Science. So kind of like the head of the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that the Conclave, like that you have an agent that high up, it's like you're going to be able to get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. It's just the four of you. He says, we've made overtures to the Terugians, but they didn't make any of our meetings.
Mm.
House Terugian is a lesser... It's not a lesser house. It's one of the great houses of the Lunari logosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are related by blood to the monarchy, the Zakarian monarchy. So they have a lot of influence, but they probably aren't as wealthy. So maybe couldn't meet his
Financial demands.
his price. Yeah.
Yep. Out of curiosity, just to double check, it is three of us and then the Emperor, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to double check that. I'm assuming they have based on this tells well. I'm assuming they only paid the 1 billion based on that number.
Yes, that's the
Fantastic. I've brought so much more to the table.
Yeah, the Emperor doesn't say how much he's put into it, but you imagine it's more than 1 billion.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you have any more questions for him? Do you want to talk about the coup attempt that just happened? It's up to you.
For the project, we have had some discussion. I'm most eager to see it functioning. I was wondering, do we have a timetable on that?
The general architecture of the ring is in place. The null gate is being shipped. And beyond that, it's shielding, weapons, synchronizing the gate itself with the ring's conductive powers. It's getting the fleet out there without being spotted will take time. And our lead scientist is dragging her feet when it comes to the volunteers.
I can procure volunteers.
She says they have to be committed to unification.
Define committed.
There's a training facility called the Hawk facility on Calestria in the mountains, and the Admiral is in charge of that. So we have a few volunteers there now that apparently unification experiments, if they're volunteers, they conduct the Xi'an energy better. And that's what you came across on Cavar 2, that big energy well thing.
Yeah.
And so they're going to need somebody from all 6 expressions and probably multiple shifts. So they're going to need, I don't know, 20 to 25 volunteers. He doesn't say how many they have. He doesn't know exactly how many they have at the moment.
I see. Very well. Well, it is very nice to meet you, I presume we are comrades.
Indeed. Most assuredly.
Oh, and Marshall, if I may, my condolences.
Oh no, Marshall's not there.
Oh,
He's just had a dossier about him.
got it. Okay, so these are dossiers I'm being shown, and that's just
He's like pulling up hollow pictures and things.
got it. My Emperor, may I ask, what is the necessity again for the unification for this project? Just to make sure we're on the same page here.
Of course. In order to extend the range of a null gate to make it large enough to accommodate starships, the energy that naturally flows from it in a sort of, it's like he likens it to a carrier wave.
Mm-hmm.
So they can draw enough power off the null gate using, well, they were using the hybrid. You could use a wizard with maybe some demon flesh. It's called a Chalacard. That's what Gale used to enter the null gate. But in order to power something on this scale, they need to draw the energy out of the in-between in the right ratios. And so they like kind of send it from Vorak to Mistral to Gillimore kind of in a ring, and it sort of creates this feedback. And over time, it sort of hardens into a giant ring.
Is this something I could potentially do?
Like without the Emperor's money
No,
and
I mean, like,
experts and all that stuff?
no, I mean like physically, like with what I am, is it possible for me to draw it out in their stead?
You are too corrupted.
Okay.
It's it would just throw everything out of whack.
Could I create someone with demon flesh though?
I mean, you haven't had a body in so long.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to get your hands on some.
Mm.
Null gates often have these pods around the outside
Mm-hmm.
that may have some remains in them.
Okay.
So you could send people out to raid them.
It sounds like my best case scenario here then is just pull a bunch of people from different expressions and just mentally, like, just force them to become willing.
kind of manipulate them into volunteering.
Yeah, just I think the plan I'm formulating here is just pull them all into a room where no one can see or hear anything and just full demonic unleash and just be like, okay, here's what you're gonna do now.
Cool. So you'd kind of like manipulate their thoughts and memories.
I think
to
I'd
the
try to
point where
even manipulate their bodies to be more accepting towards this energy too, if possible.
Oh, I like
So
it.
I'm just gonna tell the Emperor, if I may, Emperor, I will potentially even today, if you give me time, I would like to procure 6 individuals who will be the prime candidates for this experiment.
Perfect. Tell my personnel officer.
Of course.
He gives you their contact information.
Yeah. I do apologize, man, but if there's nothing else to speak about, I am most eager to provide and be of service.
Wonderful.
I guess he'll leave the room at that point if the Emperor gives him leave.
All right. Yeah, you leave the room and you are now you have the run of the ship if you want. At some point they're going to turn back around and take you back to your ship whenever that fight wraps up.
Yeah. I'm just gonna ask the personnel officer if I can go through his people for a project.
Of course. Yeah, she agrees. Yeah, her name is Barbara.
Barbara's amazing. But I'm going to set up on the shell that we came in. I would like to essentially try to set up a field where no one could sense energy coming or sound coming in and out of.
Perfect. So you go
And
back
once
to
that's-
the shuttle
Yep.
and
Yep.
silence field.
Yep. Gail? While I am inducting interviews, no one is to come in and out. I would like you to stand guard outside.
Who will you be interviewing?
A few subjects that we have need of.
And where are you locating these subjects?
From the ship. I have permission from the Emperor and the personnel manager to, in their stead, figure out who would be the best candidates.
Oh, so these are the Emperor's people.
Pretty well, I mean, I'm assuming we don't have access to anyone else here right now, so if the Emperor, I mean, I'm assuming the Emperor, he's putting like mind control devices into his people. I don't think he cares if I mess with them as long as I get results.
Yeah. Love it. So over the course of the next few hours you interview some various subjects.
Big quotation mark interview.
Most of them are Yafridi. You managed to get
just as many expressions as I can find. I'll just pick the people who would be missed the least, and I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm assuming since it's mostly Yafridi, I'm not able to get my hands on all 6 expressions here.
Yeah, let me pull up the
For sure.
the book. I have percentages for their likelihood to exist, but in the galaxy. Although I guess it's sort of a crapshoot. So we'll say a Gillamorian. Oh no, it can't be Gillamorians because they're basically immune to demonic control.
Okay.
So you'll let someone else find the Gillamorians. You'll get a Vorak and a Lunari.
Vorak and a Lunari, and I'm assuming Yafridi are everywhere on the ship, so that's not a concern.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll take those 3 aside. I'm going to induct the interview with the Yafridi. I'm just going to welcome into the room. Hello there.
Sir?
I believe that you may be selected here in a moment.
Of course, sir. I serve at the Emperor's pleasure.
Of course you do. I have but one question.
Okay.
And then my entire body will just fold open as a window into the in-between will just... I don't think he's ever done this before, but at least he's done stuff mentally, but I don't think he's done stuff physically yet. So the same tendrils that showed up from during the hyper jump just start pouring out from this essentially space window.
Oh my God.
I'm assuming he bolts for the door, but they just bramble in front of the door in the silence field. Just block the path.
Yeah, he sort of just stands there stock still. He's looking around for exits. There are none. And yeah, you got him.
They close in on him and they just start worming their way into him and under his skin.
Gross.
And he's just going to be forced to make a connection, and he's going to suddenly find himself mentally within the in-between.
Wow.
And he's going to see his own face staring back at him. A younger version of himself. Hello?
He just keeps staring.
And in the next moment that it speaks, it's an old man version of himself. And then it's his entire life in an instant. He sees every moment of his life, every mind that he's ever been.
What is this? Am I dying?
You are being replaced. And he's going to pluck out a version of himself from within this myriad of infinite minds that is pliable. And it's going to make its way back into his body. And this version of his mind is just sat there inside the in-between. In a sense, yes.
Okay, so this is him at 18, kind of dissolute before he joined the military.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he wanted to be or what he wanted to do. And now that part of himself has come to the fore and maybe motivated to volunteer.
Yep. And I go ahead and just introduce new genetic material into his body to make it more conductive towards this energy plucked from just reshaping and reforging him.
Oh,
And,
that's gonna need a roll here.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely willing to do so. He explodes. All right. D10. Guide me. That's an 8.
8 plus 18. Yeah, he is powerless to defend himself. And yeah, you've got bits of DNA that you've fabricated based on past experiments that will suppress certain emotions and things deep inside his brain, and other bits that'll increase his physical strength and his endurance. And yeah, when you're done, he's just standing there mutely awaiting orders.
Wait outside. I have 2 others to finish up with.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to repeat the process. If you want to role play through that as well.
No, we'll cut ahead.
Yep. He's just going to walk back up to the Emperor's office with these 3 in tow.
That's amazing. The Emperor is in his lounge, drinking some champagne, and he encourages you to sit.
I'll take a seat.
He starts giving them the pitch on working on the Infinity Ring as his private agents, and they all say yes.
I presume they're to your liking, my Emperor?
Of course.
Very well. I made sure to perhaps take a more discerning eye than your personnel manager could have managed otherwise. They are the creme de la crop of your people. I will see if I can procure 3 more expressions for the volunteers, but your researcher should have no issues with these 3. I will find that she will not find them lacking in any aspect.
Very well. We've returned to your ship. I'll let you return to your shuttle.
Sounds good. I think he's got a pleasant smile on his face as Gale escorts him back.
Yeah, so they sent over a shuttle from the tier, and you guys hop onto it, leave the shuttle bay, and she says, "Did everything go well, sir?"
Oh, it went better than well, my.
Who were those 3 people?
They were volunteers for a project.
The $3 billion project? Or Connell, 3 billion Connell project?
What's a dollar?
We last thing we see is you walking through your ship and all your people standing at attention, just admiring you as they go by. And you see some of them have been injured and patched up. There was a hole in the side of the ship where a torpedo must have got through.
How many expressions do we have on the ship, by the way?
I would think you have at least 1 of each. Mistrals are pretty rare, but you might be able to hire one for something or other.
I would love to just repeat the process on those 2 and just have them sent in a shuttle back up to the Emperor.
Cool. So yeah, our last scene is you inviting in this young Gillamorian woman, and she looks terrified to be there. And she takes off her mask. And so for Gillamorians, you'll have to do it without your demonic powers, but I'm sure you're able to talk people into things as well.
Demonic power she can resist, right?
Yeah, Gillamorians have natural immunity.
What if it was just naturally, what if, for example, I were to get a surrogate to take on these genetic changes and just have someone just implant it into her after that?
A surrogate?
As in essentially use a demonic power to just alter someone to create a sort of genetic serum almost, and just have her ingest it and just have it use natural biology to then do the rest.
I mean, it's possible. It would probably take some experimentation. because they're not naturally receptive. But it might be done.
Fantastic. I think that's probably what that's her future for the next foreseeable time.
Yeah, you have a year and a half to perfect the process.
Yeah, he's just going to he's just going to go ahead and just like keep doing this and just like and use other methods to try to just induce this.
That's great. If you get enough of your own people, you can have a majority, and you could even like rub out the admiral's volunteers and stick your own in there.
Yeah. I think that's just what he does is he's slowly taking over. I feel like he definitely has more input than like the other conspirators at this point. He's put like all of his agents on this except, his personal guard, and is just pushing the entire organization towards this.
That's so awesome.
I think he would even go as far as some point to just, well, nah, it's fine. I think 3 billion is enough.
Cool. All right. Folks, you can get in touch at shatteredworldspod@gmail.com. We've got a Patreon, patreon.com/shatteredworldsrpg. We're on Facebook, and we were on X. We're probably going to start on Blue Sky one of these days. So tell your friends about us. Rate, review, subscribe on all your favorite podcatchers, and keep coming back.
Tell your neighbors too.
Yeah, get your neighbors into actual play RPG shows.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just knock on their door with a pie or something. Just be like, have you heard about... Jeff hasn't printed the book yet, but when he does, just make sure you bring that too.
Oh my God. I've been sitting on my fully edited first novel set in this world.
That's awesome.
I've got somebody doing a copy edit on it, but I have to get over the hump of either submitting it to publishers or publishing it myself. But for now, people can find it on the Shattered Worlds RPG YouTube page. I was reading it out like an earlier draft.
That's awesome.
If they want to get in there. Jilyam doesn't appear until the second trilogy, so this is the Jilyam you get until 20 years from now when those come out.
I'll be here, a decrepit old man, ready for it.
Hell yeah.
At the ripe old age of 30. No,
well, thank you, Kyle. Have yourself a wonderful day. And
thank you as well. It was a lot of fun.
Keep it rolling. Shout out to Space Knife for letting us use their track, I'm Taking Off, Shield Your Eyes, from their Into the Black Hole EP. Thanks, Space Knife. Keep it rolling. Abelard spins, ducks, and fires a plasma shot back, like without even looking. Oh no! Shit! I spilled water.
Oh, that's plasma. All right. Well, while that pause is happening, I guess I'll just start listing off some puns that I've come up with recently. So, why do frogs hate programmers? Because programmers insist on debugging everything. What is a spider's choice of profession? Web developer.
I was gesticulating too wildly.
All good.
Got water all over my Star Trek Adventures book.
Oh, that's rough.